Now I'm going to say straight off the bat, if you're even seeing this video, you better damn like it, because it's been so long since I've done a YouTube video that I don't even remember the upload process. So if we even get here, buzzing, you know, it's a win. Now it's been a long time since I've done a YouTube video, but I felt it apt because I always said that I would come back, create more YouTube content when I had something that I wanted to say. It felt like for a very long time, as I said, content had to be created. So sometimes it was a case of I didn't really want to share my day, or I didn't really want to share my workout, but I felt like I should have done. Whereas I'm now in a point in my life where a hell of a lot's changed, which we will get to, that I feel like I want to share again, and it's exciting, and a lot of people are asking me questions on socials, on Instagram predominantly, about how it's been, how it's going, where it's going. So I thought, you know what, now we've got something to talk about, let's talk about it. I don't live in the UK anymore. I've relocated, our family have moved over to Costa Rica. Yes, I have a 5-year-old daughter. Yes, I have an 8-week-old, now 9-week-old son. He was born, everything went well, and we said that we wanted to relocate, so we said, we're doing it. So we are now here in Costa Rica for the foreseeable future. And I put up a Q&A bar on Instagram and just said, what do you want to know in a long form video? Because I keep getting asked questions every single day. And on Instagram, you can't really go into it. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time talking because YouTube's still really fickle. And they like get to the point where I'm going to switch it off and watch a cat dry humping some sandpaper or something. I kind of want to answer this question straight off the bat because it is just like the bluntness is phenomenal. There is no other words, not even a full stop, just why. Now, this one could answer quite a lot of questions, but the why is very, very simple. Because I flip it around for want of not sounding like an idiot. Why not? You know, life, I have traveled my whole adult life. With my ex-partner, I traveled around Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, got the bug for new people, new places, exploration. I learned so much about myself as a person. I grew so much as a person. I've always fed off that traveling side of things. And for a very long time, I thought that a lot of that was just part of being on holiday or just traveling. But it wasn't until maybe the last 5 years with my now wife that we realized that we weren't fully happy in the UK. Now, there's nothing wrong with our life in the UK. We love our friends, we love our family, we love our lifestyle. But there is an element that I always say, I could essentially look out of my window every single day and go, if I don't change anything majorly, this could be my life for the next 40 years. And that terrified me. Some people love that, nice linear path in life. I like to disrupt the flow and find out if there's a different way of doing things, find out more about myself. So just the sheer thought of constantly looking out of that window every day for the next 40 years, that's exactly why we changed it. And obviously with me and JC being Ant and Dec of the fitness world for so long, it was one of the biggest reasons why we couldn't do it before. Me and my wife have spoken about it for years, you know, from back the first time we went to New Zealand, but it was like the TheLeanMachines were like so integrally important to me, the same as with JC back then, that we're like, we just need to see where this thing's going. And for me to go the other side of the world and expect it to carry on, it just wasn't going to happen. Whereas right now, COVID changed things massively. We came over to here last year for a month just to see what it was like at Christmas. And I just became a different person. And people say this is a really weird thing all the time when I say to them, but I'm like, there's places that you go that take a piece of you when you leave. And this place, when I came to Costa Rica, it took a piece of me that I never got back until I came back over here. And I just feel like a completely different person. I know that sounds really wishy-washy, but that's why. We've got kids. I want to bring up kids in an outdoor lifestyle. I want to teach my daughter to surf. I wanted to try loads of different things, living off the land, trying different parts of the world. I don't want her to just be sat in the same cul-de-sac in the UK thinking that that is the way that you should live your life. I'm like, you know what? Take the risk, take that jump. If it all goes wrong, so what? The UK is not the end of the world, you know, it's not a bad thing. Next question, I'm going to talk about Stephen, our dog, because we've been asked a ton of questions. First of all, how's Stephen doing with the heat? And second of all, did we ever consider leaving him in the UK? No, we didn't ever consider leaving him. There was no two ways about it. We spent months upon months upon months trying to find different ways to actually get him here. You would be shocked at how hard it is to actually fly a French bulldog specifically out of the UK to get him to Central America. It's ridiculous. And we always said that if it didn't work with Stephen, it was never going to work. Now, anyone out there who is a dog owner or a cat owner, an animal lover, you will know that a house doesn't feel like a home unless you've got your pets. Like, he's literally laying here, and just hearing the pitter-patter of his feet and his breathing when we got here and he arrived a few days later, that's what makes it feel like home. So there's no way we would have done it without him. Second of all, how's he doing? He's doing really well, actually, because again, when you go to different countries, you kind of, like with the UK, when it gets hot, our whole world just disintegrates because we don't consider things like air conditioning units and really expensive things like that to have all the time. Here, air conditioning unit in every single room. So Stephen's always got a cool, consistent space. We take him for a walk at like 5:36 in the morning when the sun just comes up, which is a lovely way to start the day. And then he gets a walk again in the evening. We just don't take him out during the peak of the heat of the day because it's like 35 degrees. But he's dealing with it absolutely wonderfully. Next huge question we've been asked is all around visas and different requirements. Now, as a UK citizen, you're allowed to come to Costa Rica for 3 months. I believe if you're an American citizen, you don't need a visa at all. You can kind of just crack on. But for us to be here for more than 3 months, we had two choices. One was to spend, I'm not 100% sure, I think you have to spend about 100,000 US, I believe. So if we were to buy a house or we bought some land, it would give us automatic residency. There's that option. And the second option is the one in which that we went for, is the nomad visa, which gives us 2 years in the country to essentially make up our mind whether this is going to be life or not. Now, I'll be honest, if it was just me and Carly and we didn't have the children to consider, I think I would have just sold up everything and come over here and bought some land and just said, you know, worst case scenario, we just sell it again. But we did hesitate a little bit on that, purely just because we'd only been here for 1 month last year, and everywhere's wonderful for a month, isn't it? So we've gone for the nomad visa. The main requirement for a nomad visa is that you work digitally, you don't work on the ground. So you're not going to come over here and take jobs away from local Costa Rican people, right? So my whole business is online. It's one of the main things that I've worked towards for probably the last 12 years, but predominantly in the last 2 or 3 years, is to essentially be able to take my job, as long as I've got a phone and a laptop, anywhere in the world and still be able to do it. So you have to make sure that your business is online and that you don't have to take money physically. Like, I couldn't work in a coffee shop or something like that. So that's what we've got, 2 years. And if all goes well, to be honest, if we love it after a year, we'll go back to the UK, we'll sell our property in the UK, and then we'll come over here and buy something. Now, the way that we've done it here is this is a rental property. It's bloody expensive to rent in the area in which that we're in. So for us to stay in this area, we will have to buy. There's no two ways about it. We couldn't continue to live here long term on these rental prices because it's utterly disgusting, but it's worth it for the short term. I'm gonna put these ones all together because there's been questions around how did Jax feel about it? How is she getting on? Also around education. Now, first of all, Jax has been wonderful. You know, she's had moments where she's missed home. She had moments where she was nervous about leaving, but she was also in Costa Rica with us last year and she absolutely loved it. And all year she couldn't wait to get back here. And also at that age, they make friends so quickly. She's already got a ton of friends at the school that she goes to. We make friends at the beach every single day, every time she goes to a park or some form of, she's now gone to aerial yoga. She'll make friends there. You know, she's at that age, it's so different. She just needed, to be honest, she just needed us a little bit more before we left, as the house started to get packed up and it became less personalized, essentially, where boxes were everywhere, her pictures were taken down. That was harder for her than when we actually just came over. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off and we're like, we're here now. And since then, she's just thrived. Now, education, again, that is another thing that we've paid for. It's bloody expensive. I think expensive more because of the fact that we have to consider that it's free in the UK. Jax goes to, I say, like a private school. It's not like what you would think. It's like an international school where we have to pay 12-week blocks at a time. She goes 4 days a week. We chose to only put her in 4 days so we can have Fridays where it's just purely family day. She does Spanish, obviously English, and then the rest of the time it's all exploration, learning about the wave systems and the culture, learning about growth, vegetation and lifestyle and Costa Rican culture to begin with. It's all play-based, so she won't be in formal education for about another 3 or 4 years if we were to stay here, which I'm really happy with. You know, I want her to know herself and explore herself before she worries about whether she's getting an A, B, C or a GCSE or not. I think my personal opinion is you want to know yourself and what you want from the world before the world tells you what you need to have, right? Basic requirements. So that's the system we've got over here. Is there anything simple that you miss from the UK? Yes, I think the word simple really does define it massively, and that is the simplicity of the UK. The process of something like Amazon here is not just a couple of clicks, get it, be there in 48 hours, right? I was so spoiled with Amazon parcels in the UK that essentially if I want to get something from Amazon, I order from .com now, I have to order it to an address in Miami, and then from Miami, it gets couriered to a local pickup station in Nasara, in our local area. And then we pick it up and we might have to pay tax, we might not have to pay tax. It's kind of a lottery. So that simplicity of click and collect or next day delivery or Prime, whatever you want to call it, that's gone, completely gone. That serious level of automation in our life is not even an option, like Deliveroo, all of that stuff. Like, that's probably the thing that I would say that I miss the most, but also at the same time, there is a caveat to that I don't shop that often now because I'm like, if it isn't really worth getting here, I don't need it. So I've already saved a lot of money in terms of, obviously I'm spending a lot to be here, but I've saved a lot because of those stupid spontaneous purchases. And also, like, probably on top of that is where we have chosen to situate ourselves is quite a touristy area. So things like high street shops, where I haven't shopped on the high street for clothes for years, I won't even pretend. But if I was to go to a shop to buy something, you're buying tourist clothes rather than local clothes. So you either get ripped off or it has to be quite specific. And if you go and buy something, like I sometimes like to buy something that's a little bit out there, I can't really get that because there'll be like 6 copies of it and everyone will be wearing the same thing if you're here for a month. So probably that's about it really. This is going to be the last question that I'm going to answer, and I think it's a really nice question to ask, and that is how is life different now? I can't really quantify it in words, if I'm completely honest, because again, still we've only been here a couple of weeks now. It still feels like this weird lucid dream state where we're like, has it happened? Should we be getting ready to fly home again because, you know, we're in a holiday destination? It feels a little bit like areas of our lifestyle have massively relaxed and we've proper settled in and got friendship groups, and there's community groups that we're now in. I've got my community over at Jiu-Jitsu. I'm in the Jiu-Jitsu WhatsApp chat. Like, that kind of stuff feels really, really like here. And then some of it feels a little bit like, God, it's balancing on a knife edge and we could fly home tomorrow. It's really, really strange. But I think the biggest thing is that I feel motivated, I feel creative in a work sense. Like, for me to even pick up the camera after 13 years or 12 years of being on YouTube and want to actually create content, that in itself should show you that I'm feeling a lot more creative. I'm sorry to say it, but it can get very dull sometimes and forced. And also, I'm very much on the back foot out here. You know, I've been learning Spanish for a couple of years, but I really do have to nail down the language to be able to survive here and integrate properly. So there's a lot of really successful, super cool, super beautiful, super talented humans here. And I'm really at the bottom of the pile now, socially, in that sense as well. And it makes me feel really hungry to grow and better myself in many ways. And also, like, on a day-to-day, like, how's life different? We get up 1 kilometer from our house is the beach. We walk the dog on the beach first thing in the morning. I come back, I have breakfast with my family. I might go to jiu-jitsu, I might just take the daughter to school. We kind of flip-flop back and forth. And then I just get on with my work. I nail my work until 1 to 2 p.m. Then there's a 6-hour time difference with the UK, so there's no point doing anything or actioning anything after 2 p.m. because it's then 8 p.m. And then the laptops close, I go out with the family, I do what I want to do, and I start to plan for the next day. So life has just felt like the energy's been pushed back into it, which is utterly stunning, and the way of life is simpler, it's more connected, and I just feel like a void in some ways that was kind of missing a little bit has now been filled in a different way. And yeah, it's like I spoke to a local the other day and I said to him, I was like, it feels a bit like a weird dream. And they're like, to be honest, you will always feel like it's a weird dream because you're doing the thing that is a dream, which sounds really strange. It's not like you're going to live and then suddenly it's going to feel like the UK at some point. This is always going to feel like a weird lucid dream state. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to explore it more and embed ourselves more in the culture and do some more social things and meet some more people and try some different ways of building the business and changing the business, diversifying the business, that sort of stuff. So yeah, so we're here. If you've got any other questions whatsoever, pop them below. I'd be more than happy to come back to you in private if you prefer, if it's something a little bit more logistically driven, financially driven, and you want to know specific numbers or whatever it may well be. If you're thinking about it, I would be more than happy to share, but I just don't like to chuck money all over the internet and that sort of stuff because it might not be contextual to the person. And if you want more Costa Rican content, do let me know. I'm also going to I've spoke to a local videographer who's going to come and help me film some content as well, because I'm about to start training to run Nevada 220. I'm going to go and run the Grand Canyon, spend a bit of time in Vegas as well, which would be super cool. So if you're excited for that, let me know below. But genuinely, any questions whatsoever, you like this kind of content, let me know. Otherwise, peace. Thanks so much for the questions. And hopefully you see this video. Who knows? It's a lottery at this point.